or Neuralinks. Elon, every time I talk to Elon about this, he's like, Neuralink. And I'm like, because he wants to jack you in, or get computers on the outside of your head that let you communicate with the computer, right?
Just glad you brought that up.
Yeah. So a device here from pull that a second. Oops. This is a brain computer interface from a company called NextMind. Snapchat bought this, right? And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sensors on the back that go on the back of your head, right? And all your visual processing in your brain is done in the back of your head. So this is listening to the electrical signals coming off of your brain as you see things. And it can sort of tell what you're seeing just from the outside of your head. There's an AI computer in here that is looking for the patterns on the back of your head from your own brain, right? So this is, this is ugly and big and hurts a little bit to press these sensors against your skull. But this is the beginning of brain-computer interfaces, which is what will come after the glasses. That's the next paradigm shift. The spatial computing is what one wave of change. Then there's another wave of change as these start coming out in the market. But I think we need the glasses first, because this is going to use the data from the glasses to help figure out your brain.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Medallion Excellent podcast. Today, we're here with an extremely special guest, Robert Scoble from the Scobleizer podcast or Scobleizer podcast blog, and he has a lot of different products. Also, he has six books in the metaverse and extended reality space. So, Robert,
a few other spaces, contextual computing, and I wrote a book on contextual computing before everything started going contextual, and it's about to really go contextual with AI and augmented reality, spatial computing. I wrote a book on social media, that way before anybody got into social media, way before Facebook started. So I do books that predict decade-long trends up ahead of us, right? And Irina and I are working on another one now, too. So
cool.
We see even more change up ahead of us.
Cool. Yeah. So I've heard of spatial computing, but I've never heard of contextual computing. What's that?
Yeah, the AI of the future that you're going to soon see, a digital assistant that you talk to, right, and talks back to you. The more context it knows about you, the better it can serve you, right? If it knows you're in a classroom, it's going to talk to you differently than if you're in a restaurant or a church or a national park, right? You're in a different context in each of those places. I mean, think about, there's a work context for you, right? So if in this Vision Pro, you might have 5 screens around you to do your work. And then you might go, okay, I'm done with work. Now I want to be in entertainment context. Well, now it should show you video games or movies or music or TV shows, right? Your context has changed. So now how the AI works with you should change. But we wrote that book a decade ago because we saw the companies like Google tracking you as you moved around the world and studying your context in a new way. And so that's what I do. I write books about things that have a decade-long impact at minimum. And this one, it has even more, actually.
Yeah, we're going to definitely get into that throughout the course of this podcast. But back to Google tracking us. A lot of people don't really like that because they feel like it's a violation of their privacy.
Yeah. It's going to get worse, man. You're going to do an entire 3D scene of your house in milliseconds, right? when you buy one of these and take it home, privacy goes away real fast. Now, Apple says, no. It's all on the headset. But in theory, you're in a new world. And you're in a new digital twin. And you're in a new world with AI that can understand what you're looking at, what you're touching, what you're holding, what you're eating, right? What's going to happen over the next 18 months is going to be pretty big. So it's a good time to talk.
Yeah. So over the next 18 months, but from what I see,
we have concerns about robots, right? If you get an Optimus robot coming in your house, and it's doing your dishes and your clothes, and it knows everything about you. Within a minute or two, it's going to know, like literally, the first thing it's going to do is go open your refrigerator and take an inventory of what's in your refrigerator. Because it had to set your table and put food out and help you out, right? That's why you invited it in the house.
Yeah. So
once that happens, it's over, man. It's over. Then you're in a new world where you can do all sorts of new things. Okay.
So let's start this conversation with a bang, right? Yeah. So are you a effective accelerationist or a plausible doomer? Like, should we be building the time machines for John Connor to go back in time for now, just in case it all goes wrong?
I know that there is a significant potential downside of AI, right? There is a potential that this thing goes on a line. My show is called On a Line for that reason, because I sat next to an AI safety researcher for 10 hours, and he told me everything that could go wrong with AI. And there's a whole range of things from, it could do away with jobs. It could make wealth inequality a bigger gap, right? Because if we have robots and Elon owns all the robots, he's going to get richer and richer and richer, and the rest of us are going to be like poorer and poorer in theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have new kinds of biases that get sucked into the system from human biases. If you ask it what the history of how does Silicon Valley start, it leaves out the Chinese just the same way that Leland Stanford left out the Chinese. The Chinese built Silicon Valley, but they leave it out because who wrote the history? Leland Stanford did, or Stanford University did.
Okay.
They don't tell the full picture. They don't tell the full story because they're biased, and the AI picked up that bias.
So that's always been a concern, where people have always been concerned that AI, because it's written by, I guess, people who are biased, and it's going to pick up that bias. And
it's trained by it's trained on human data. It read my blog for 10 years, and that I'm part of the LLM, that OpenAI or ChatGPT, right? So it read my blog. What did it learn from my blog? Did it pick up my biases? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And because of that, you think there's a good chance that AI can, because of these biases, like calculate or move through the world in a way,
separate people from each other, right?
Further separate.
It could start redlining people again in America because it could pick up that bias from us. Because we have inequality in America, and it can pick up, then that system, it learns from that.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
That's a potential downside, right? Hopefully the smart people at OpenAI are working on this, and they are. They call it the AI safety teams, right? They're trying to keep the AI from doing anti-human things.
Mm-hmm. So robots are going to take our jobs, right? At some point. It's taking everyone's jobs. So
they take the shitty jobs that you don't. Do you really want to work on a manufacturing line putting a screw in a piece of sheet metal every 10 seconds?
Well, no, but because of the way our economy is set up, like, we have to get paid to do something. And if robots are getting more advanced at the time, like, eventually it's going to take all our jobs, and we won't be able to.
I said it's going to take our shitty jobs. The fun jobs we're going to keep doing because we like to do jobs, actually. I've talked to many people who are billionaires who don't need to work for money. They still work every day, like Elon Musk. Why does Elon Musk go to work every day?
Because he wants to get richer.
No, it's fun to work. It's part of our biology. Let's back up. I met last year a guy who runs a company called Cortical Labs, and he makes a box where he has part of that box a chip that runs on human neurons. He grows human brain cells on the chip to make the computer. And he said, if you don't give the human neurons a game to play, the neurons die. We as human beings like to do things, like to play games. So we're going to come up with new jobs for everybody. I guarantee you this. When you're in this world, you see how the new job can be, because you're going to be into making some sort of costumes for people, or guns, or scenes, or plays, or sports, right? And we're going to enjoy that in this thing. And that's I'm going to buy a costume from you in the new metaverse.
So I have a AI expert. He comes on this podcast a lot. And one of his predictions is that the purpose of AI is to always keep working until it can replace everything, right?
Yeah.
And put us in, I think he called it a post economy or something like that, where AI is just doing all our jobs, and then we're just free.
Beat the best human being at the game and go, right?
Mm-hmm.
The AI at Google, DeepMind. It started out worse than a child, right? It couldn't beat a child at the game and go, but eventually it beat the best human being at the game and go. The people who play the game and go, they were demoralized by this, because all of a sudden they were beat by something they just can't beat. Well, now they're playing with the AI. They're making new games up, right? It's a new job. It's a new world. So, and human beings can't understand that when your old job goes away, there is going to be new jobs to do. If you're curious, and if you're watching, and if you're learning, you're going to see it. You're going to be, there's already, I have 2,500 AI artists in an X list. That didn't exist a year ago. You're telling me those people aren't going to be doing new jobs?
It's hard to imagine what jobs they're going to be doing if the purpose of AI is to replace those jobs and make it more accessible for pretty much everyone else to do those jobs at a more rapid pace. So
if you get at that point, there's still the rich people are going to go to Coachella in 20 years, even though there's supposedly no jobs. But on the screens around you, it's going to be all sorts of AI artists who are creating things for your experience. That's a new job. It doesn't exist today, or it sort of exists, but early days. It's only a year old.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So instead of screwing a screw into a piece of sheet metal, maybe you got to go back to school and learn something new. Maybe you got to be part of a new community like X.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
I call it the cult for a reason. You got to get a Vision Pro, join the new world. Yeah, right now there's no customers because there's only 200,000 people who have Vision Pros. Wait until they're a pair of glasses, and there's several different manufacturers out with them, right? Like Meta versus Apple. And soon it's going to be a pair of glasses like what both of us are wearing.
Yeah. So Mark Zuckerberg, he had the original vision for this whole metaverse thing, and he's doing the collaboration with Ray-Ban. Went to go check it out. It doesn't have computer vision in the glasses yet, but you can still listen to music and make phone calls and different things like that. So it's at least starting the immersion process.
It has a camera, so you can take, hey Meta, turn on a camera, right?
Yeah, it has the cameras and stuff. And I believe that's pretty much the pinnacle of where we're all heading.
piece of field of view. The thing that's coming is if you had a VR headset like this one or a pair of glasses, and I had a pair of glasses, you could actually embody yourself inside my glasses. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, the Ray-Ban gives you a taste. The glasses are coming, and Zuckerberg's spending tens of billions of dollars building the custom silicon for the glasses. So yeah, they're coming. It's just when. Is it a year from now? Is it 3 years from now? It's sometime.
Did you see his reaction to the Apple Vision Pro?
Yeah, I watched that, and he has some points, but I don't agree with him. But yeah, that's what makes
which part. Which part don't you agree with?
All of them.
All of them.
Yeah,
I don't know about that. Because
I do. Go watch Artur, who built his own VR headset, built his own virtual world, and he takes on every single point by point. Yeah, they don't have games on this thing. Okay, if you are a gamer, I would buy the Quest 3, right? And right now, the Quest 3 has way more games. That's a good point, right? But it's in the context.
Deeper
ecosystem. I can work in this thing. I can't work in a Quest 3. So start there. You didn't admit that, right?
Yeah.
I have my entire Apple ecosystem in this thing. There's no ecosystem in the Quest 3. I can't work. And I can't see the screen. I'm sorry. The screen is not as good in the Quest 3 as in the Vision Pro. I can't read text. If I can't read text, I can't work. If I can't work, it's useless. I can go to the beach with this thing on and work.
Yeah.
The microphones are way better. Why does that matter? Because if you had one and I had one and we're doing a video call, it's freaking amazing. I was sitting next to a train track with a train going 80 miles an hour by me, and I was in FaceTime with somebody else who had a Vision Pro. He didn't hear any of the train. Not one bit. And it was 20 feet from me. I've had vacuum cleaners. I've had kids. I've had phones playing inside the Vision Pro. The other side doesn't hear any of that. So I have not seen that demonstrated in the Quest 3.
All right.
Nobody's gone on.
I understand that.
With, the train going by, right?
I understand that, but I have a Quest 2. I haven't got the Quest 3 yet.
I have a Quest 2 as well.
Yeah. So, but although,
and it is expensive.
The product just released, the Apple Vision Pro.
Not very many people can afford a Ferrari. A Ferrari is a better car than a Toyota, but most people buy Toyota, so he does have a point.
Well, it's a faster car than a Toyota.
No, it's a better. I've been in a Ferrari. It's a better car than a Toyota. Come on.
It depends on the use case.
Be honest.
If you need to
take price out of the equation, which one would you rather have in your garage? If you could afford a Ferrari, you would.
No, it depends on the use case. Because if you need to, if you're a soccer mom, you need to bring a bunch of people to soccer practice.
Now you're defining what is a better car. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. But yeah. So back to the Quest. So what I think is
I don't play video games, so the video game part of it doesn't appeal to me. Like he talks about when you move your head, there's a little bit of vision blur. To me, that makes the 2D screen sharper. It makes it more pleasing. But to a gamer, that's a bad thing, right? So as a product designer, you have to always be designing product for somebody. If you're designing it for a video gamer who only has $500, you're going to make certain choices. And if you're making a device for richer people who work on these things, you're going to make different choices.
So I guess that goes back to the use case issue, like whether the headset you want it more for...
if you're doing a video conference with somebody in work, the Zuckerberg device is not good. It's not good. It's not as good. Right?
Well...
I would far prefer to talk to you if you have a Vision Pro than if you have a Quest. The Vision Pro is way better experience, way better to hear you, way better to talk with you on than the Quest, right? Because he made certain choices on the headphones and on the microphones to keep the cost down.
Well, I think the way he positioned the Quest is probably wrong because Apple, like you were saying, is way better positioned to be a work headset. And then that's how Mark Zuckerberg is trying to position the Quest. But the Quest is better for you being involved in immersive experiences, which is which is a selling point for me.
Today, but I know some things are coming. So the game has not even started really in this whole thing, right? You don't have a pair on. I'm not wearing a pair during this headset, during this podcast, right? Why not? Because it's big and ugly. It's dorky. It's heavy.
It looks cool.
Good for doing this. This app that we're using isn't on it yet, right?
Mm-hmm. But it does look cool. Like it looks way better designed than any of the previous headsets. It has like a real cyberpunk aesthetic. It's nice and round. The designers who worked on it, they did a really good job on the Vision Pro.
The game is the glasses. We all know this. This is not the game. Either side, this is not the game, right? Even if you decide, oh, the Quest is the way I'm going, that's not the game. The game is glasses. That's what Zuckerberg's spending tens of billions of dollars on, and that's what Apple has spent tens of billions of dollars to prepare. This is a preparation for the glasses. This gets software developers to build things for the glasses. Now they have a platform to build on for the glasses. Apple knows this. Apple doesn't even care if you buy this. They know it's a loss. It's a loss. This first product. This product prepares the world for the glasses. So that's why I don't care about the weight, for instance. The weight,
it's a lot lighter than the Sword of Damocles. Remember that one?
It hurts less than the HoloLens, right? So it's going in the right direction, but it's still heavy. Why is it heavy? Why did they have to design it to be heavy?
Because there's a lot of features that you need to fit in it.
There's a lot of sensors that need to stay aligned. So if you drop this thing on the floor, which you probably will, right? If things get dropped, the sensors have to stay aligned. Otherwise, the device goes bad. And so look at the video of how they make the frame. It's a carved piece of aluminum. It's very stiff. It's very resistant to bending or breaking if you drop it from your couch onto your floor.
All right. Well, we just got a chat.
And he has a lot more sensors than Zuckerberg has because Apple made a choice to go down a path of building a very, very high resolution digital twin. Cool. The digital twin is really the differentiator between the two ecosystems right now.
Okay. Well, I just real quick, I want to
see the digital twin all around you. It's like, wow.
I want to mention the chat where from Memo Parkfield, who says glasses is the next big thing. The ultimate goal is lens implants.
Or Neuralinks. Elon, every time I talk to Elon about this, he's like, Neuralink. And I'm like, because he wants to jack you in, or get computers on the outside of your head that let you communicate with the computer, right?
Just glad you brought that up.
Yeah, so a device here from pull that a second. Oops. This is a brain computer interface from a company called NextMind. Snapchat bought this, right? And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sensors on the back that go on the back of your head, right? And all your visual processing in your brain is done in the back of your head. So this is listening to the electrical signals coming off of your brain as you see things. And it can sort of tell what you're seeing just from the outside of your head. There's an AI computer in here that is looking for the patterns on the back of your head from your own brain, right? So this is, this is ugly and big and hurts a little bit to press these sensors against your skull. But this is the beginning of brain-computer interfaces, which is what will come after the glasses. That's the next paradigm shift. The spatial computing is what one wave of change. Then there's another wave of change as these start coming out in the market. But I think we need the glasses first because this is going to use the data from the glasses to help figure out your brain. Because this doesn't work real well because it doesn't know your brain real well.
All right, let's hold that off for later. We still have a lot to impact with the spatial computing stuff.
Yeah.
But let's talk about spatial computing and extended reality, mixed reality, augmented reality, virtual reality. Like,
all of
what's the significance of each separate paradigm, and is there like a perfect paradigm that's like maybe extended reality that's a good mixture of both of them?
On the Vision Pro, are you seeing reality at all?
Yeah.
S3, are you seeing reality at all?
All right, hold on. Just hold on. So
you're not.
In Cyberpunk, there's a video game called Cyberpunk.
But you're thinking you're seeing reality.
Yeah, but wait, let me make this point.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so there's a video game called Cyberpunk, and in Cyberpunk, they have netrunners. And netrunners, pretty much, they already are existing in this world where they have implants in your brain, and spatial computing is already a thing. So netrunners could hack into these people and kind of like, I guess, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, kind of make them out of commission by hacking into them. So is that a potential danger in the future that we're heading towards?
There's a lot of potential dangers in this world, particularly as we head toward having wires on our brains, right? If we get the full neural link with 32,000 wires on our brains that a robot put in on our brains, all bets are off. Because I've seen a surgery with a patient who was awake, right? A brain surgery. And the patient, the surgeon was tapping that guy's brain with a probe, and he would raise his hand up involuntarily, right? So I put a probe into your brain, and I could make you move your hand.
Why would anyone want to do that, though? Like,
because maybe you're paralyzed. That's the whole point of this thing. That's to try to figure out how to fix your spinal cord injury or something like that, right? That's what's going on, is I'm trying to figure out how to control your brain to make your body work better, right? So I'm hooking a computer up to the brain to do an exoskeleton or to fix your spinal cord injury, something like that, right? There's a good with technology. There's always a good and there's always a bad. As human beings, we have a choice. Do we do a Holocaust and kill people with technology, or do we help people with technology? Both are possible.
All right. So the paralyzed example is pretty good, but also there's going to be rich people who just want to put, stuff in their brain so they could be as fast as supercomputers.
Yes, in theory, it's possible that an Elon Musk could make 1 billion zombie human beings out there someday, and control them all and make them do things. He's just going to offer money to you and you'll do the same thing, right? Hey, raise your hand, I'll give you $20. So you'll probably do it.
Yeah, but there's a difference between that kind of persuasion and like you not having a choice on whether you can do something or not.
If you have wires on your brain, free will changes, right? Philosophers say you don't really have free will anyways, for a lot of reasons. But at least we have the illusion of free will. I can go left or right out of the front door of my house, right? And I could choose. I have free will. I have the ability to do that. If I have wires on my brain, free will change. Somebody else could make a choice that I go left instead of right out of the house. That's a new fear. It's a new Black Mirror episode, right? We could write a script for Black Mirror and have some fun. Most of the time, that's not going to happen. But it is a thing you have to be concerned of. If you're going to buy a Neuralink and put it on your brain, have a surgeon put those wires. That's something you have to think about. It's a downside of it. A computer could make you do things, and you would not be able to override the computer if the computer made you do them. If there's wires on the brain.
All right. Well,
now you have to trust the computer company that you're buying your computer from not to do weird shit with you.
All right. Now we're entering a new paradigm in our conversation, where I feel like it's important for us to define terms, right?
Yeah.
So what makes a human special? And then what makes a computer special? And then obviously we're going into this new realm where a human and a computer are going to be mixed together. So what will be the benefit of that as well?
We're biological machines. We're neural networks too, but our machine, our brain is very different than a digital computer, like what runs my Tesla, right? Or runs this Vision Pro. The human can come up with new things because we're weird.
We have imagination.
Let's just put it, we're weird. The way our neurons work together is weird compared to a digital computer, which is all grids and all basically light switches, right? Mm-hmm. And even this AI computer is basically a light switch, and then inside there's 20 billion of them, which makes you think you're seeing a digital twin, which is amazing. But it's still a light switch. It's an on-off computer. Now we're going into new ages where we have quantum computing, which work more differently. Let's put it that way, right? More weirdly. It's not a light switch anymore. Has 3 states at minimum, right? So it's like an advanced light switch underneath, right? And we're getting photonic chips that are, the chip architecture is more like our human brain, right? And then we're going completely into new chip architectures like Cortical Labs has. Cortical Labs grows human neurons on a chip, and the human neurons are doing the computing. So now we're getting a human-like computer. So in the future, AIs are going to behave like us because it's us that's running the computers.
Wait, so are we...
Our neurons, it's not us, but it's our neurons, right?
So are we turning into computers, or are computers turning into humans?
Both.
Both simultaneously?
Well, then if you're wearing a pair of glasses in the future, aren't you really a computer?
Not really.
I would link a computer with your brain and interacting with the both. It knows where you're looking. It hears everything coming out of your mouth. It can put anything into your ears, right? Aren't you merging with a computer? That's why I'm excited by this field.
I mean, you're merging. I don't know if it's merging is correct.
In many ways. I mean, we're talking about the negatives, but it's going to help. It helps blind person can wear this. And it can show them everything around them and tell them what's, oh, your coffee's right in front of you. Yeah. It knows where the coffee is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So somebody's handing you a $1 bill instead of a 20 and you're blind. The computer can see that and go, hey, that guy's handing you a $1 bill.
Yeah, but I don't think that makes you a computer. Because
no, but it's starting to integrate your human mind with the computer. The computer is helping you live, right? It's helping you do things, helping you build things, helping you entertain yourself, helping you see the world in a different way. That's starting to integrate with your mind. That's what this device is exciting. It has eye sensors. Mm-hmm. It knows where I'm looking. That's very powerful.
But it goes into the definition of what technology is. Technology is an extension of human capabilities. So that's why I don't really think we're merging, because we are especially if you use a Vision Pro, the extension that it provides is that, it can use computer vision to identify things around the room, things around the house, and potentially give you directions that you can see.
It knows where you left your wrench, right? In theory. Not today, but in theory, a pair of glasses in a few years is going to know everything about you, everything about you, right? It's going to be highly personalized. I mean, I have Rewind listening to me right now, right? AI is listening to me all the time.
Which is... I don't think that's a bad thing, though, that it knows everything about you, because it allows the technology to better, conform to who you are and help you in those ways. But at the same time, let's say we have Vision Pro and the glasses, all I have to do to, not participate is to take the glasses off. But if I have if I have the chip implanted in me, then
you and I, how
maybe at that
can
point
you take off your glasses? Because I never take off my glasses, because if I ever do, you're blurry, right? I put them back on, you're sharp.
No, I get it.
I.e., technology helped me be a better human being, right?
Yeah, but I think that's the difference between like extension of capabilities rather than merger of capabilities. What do you think?
Today, it's two separate things, but with Neuralink, they start really merging, right? You think about something and the computer does it. It's like, whoa, that's crazy. Right? So there's a merging of the digital computer and your human computer.
So my first run-in with spatial computing, which is probably augmented reality, that's part of spatial computing, right?
Yeah.
My first run-in was with Pokemon Go. That released in 2016.
Yeah.
Like that made the world go crazy.
Yeah, I saw 6,000 people running across New York Central Park chasing a Pokemon, looking for a Pokemon. I mean, people, and that's on a little, that wasn't really augmented reality, that, because you would have to find the Pokemon, then it would bring up the augmented reality where you play a little game with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was on a little tiny phone screen, right? And 6,000 people ran across New York Park to chase something on their little phone screen. Wait until they get the digital twin and a pair of glasses soon, and things are happening, right?
That'll be the Apple Vision Pro's first killer app right there, Pokemon Go 2.
Niantic company is like, no, that's our killer app, because that's why they got funded and why they're, they built the game called Pokemon Go, right?
Yeah.
And they're building new augmented reality things for us to play in the streets when the glasses come, right?
Yeah, but we haven't heard much from Niantic since they had that viral app.
Yeah,
like they need to speak up. But speaking of that,
that's why they got funded, though. So, and they're building it. Whether it's cool or not is another problem. But they're building.
It'll be cool. Pokemon is crazy. Yeah, Pokemon has this crazy IP power because like everyone who's an adult grew up with it now. And
I have a dinosaur in my backyard by Niantic, right?
A dinosaur? Is that a Pokemon?
No, they have a game app where you can have a dinosaur. All right, and it's in my backyard.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, boom. Right. You asked me what is human about humans are weird. We like weird shit. We like dinosaurs in our backyard, stuff like that, right?
So you have a pet dinosaur in your backyard.
Why not? My kids love dinosaurs, so I'm gonna have some dinosaurs around, right?
Is it like an augmented reality app? Is it an augmented reality app?
It's on Niantic. Niantic built it, right?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So let's move on to some of the news of this week, which is, well, first Gemini came out. Gemini 1.5 came out, and it was like vastly superior to whatever the last thing was.
In some things, right? People are still evaluating it and figuring out what it does well and doesn't do well, but it did bring some major new things. It brought a big freaking context window. You can throw like 70 books into that thing all at one time.
Yeah.
It's like, eat my books and then put stuff in the books. Whoa.
So why does it have such a large context window? Because I remember
exactly that, because some humans have warehouses of information that they want to stick into the AI and talk to it about what they have, right? If you're at a big company, you might have a huge spreadsheet that you want to give into it. I would recommend not doing that with the Chat GPT, but or with Google, but Google already has all your data anyway, so why not?
Yeah, but that kind of raises privacy concerns. Like, we already are losing our privacy by the second. Like, why would we give them more?
Let me just tell you, privacy is about to radically change for human beings. The idea of privacy is, I've shared a 3D model of my house with everybody on the internet. And it's accurate. It's a digital twin of my house that I did with an Apple, with this spatial computer. I did an interview in my house yesterday, right, with my Vision Pro. I interviewed a guy who came over here. It's capturing a digital twin of both him and the house. That's how it works. It builds a light field actually in front of you, a new kind of digital experience. It captures all the rays of light, so you can see depth and see rays of light. It's really a cool camera, but it's also capturing all your privacy. And I just shared it with everybody. You could use computer vision, like a computer vision model, and you could say, go through that light field and look for things. Tell me, does he drink Coca-Cola? You could tell whether I drink Coca-Cola or not from that video, because there's a Coke can on the table.
All right. So that raises another question. Like, whose responsibility is it to secure our right to privacy? Is it the government, or is that government responsibility superseded by corporations?
What are you really trying to protect?
I don't know, but I know privacy is important.
You don't want your parents to know, or do you? Are you planning? Are you,
like I don't.
There are plenty of people who do, right? And there's gay people who might not want their community or their parents to know that they're gay because their parents are pastors at a Christian church.
But I don't think that should matter. Like, privacy is important, regardless if I could put it into words. Why it's important?
Why is it important to you? What are you trying to protect?
It's not just me though. It's like everyone has a different.
What is it that you're really trying to protect?
My digital sovereignty, my right to exist as a human being who makes mistakes and probably doesn't want all those mistakes out in the world.
Oh, they're going to get out in the world because of people anyways. My mistakes were reported on the New York Times, not because of computers, but because people reported them.
Yeah, but why are you making it so easy for people to report it?
Hey, please show me all points of view on Robert Scoble. It shows you my mistakes and my good parts, right?
I think you should have more control over that.
I might agree with you, but the real world is you don't. My mistakes are on the front page of the New York Times, man.
Because you're famous.
Yeah.
I don't think regular people should have their privacy on the front page or whatever.
Future to somebody, and normal people, the New York Times doesn't care about, right? So you're not going to have the same kind of problem. And you're absolutely right. When I learned media law as a journalism student, somebody who is famous, has an audience, is public, right? Has a public figure, has different rules than if you're not a public figure.
I could probably I don't get. I can't.
But I'm looking at X.com. There's a lot of people who are posting their shit on X.com and giving up, some of their privacy.
Yeah, but that's voluntary. Like, it's the difference between voluntarily posting something and having that thing be extracted from your life because you use an Apple product or something.
Well, Apple is trying to say, no, we're putting everything locally so you have control of it, right? Your eye sensor data doesn't leave your head. Now, in reality, that's not quite true, because if I'm filming a video, it shows where my eyes are looking. There's some places where okay, let's back up. Your eyes are doing a new kind of rendering called foveated rendering, because you have a big virtual screen in front of you, lots of voxels for the computer to do. It's only unpacking them where you're actually looking. The rest of it's blurry. It's low resolution. But where you're looking, where your eyes is looking, that's where the text is sharp. Your mind fills in the rest, because that's how you see. You don't see very much data except for right in the middle of where your eye is aiming, right? The rest of it is actually black and white to your mind, right? The peripheral you see in black and white. Your mind is filling in the color. It can't see color in the peripheral, right? This is why magicians work, because they know how human minds work, and they can slide some cards into the places where you're blind. You're blind, actually, if you move your eye from left to right, right? You're blinded for a bit. And that's why that's how a magician slides a card into your hand. because they force your eye to move. And in that movement, they're sliding a card in your hand. You can't see it.
Yeah.
And the Apple computer company knows that, right? The guy who started Siri, he's a magician, literally. Why? Because he knows how human beings work. And he's a technologist, so he's building these systems for human beings. He knows how to fool human beings with technology. John Carmack at Meta does the same thing. He's doing things in video games to fool your human mind with very little technology, right?
Shout out to John Carmack. Since you mentioned him. So all right, cool. We're talking about the Apple Vision Pro. We're talking about Apple, and there's some engineers from Apple coming out with a new product called the Humane, which is like a pin that you wear that is an AI, and it talks.
It has a camera, has a microphone, has a speaker. It has a projector that projects on your hand in front of you or on the world in front of you if it's a darker room. Right?
Mm-hmm. To me, like,
it's always on, always listening, always watching.
To me, it seems, I just don't get it. I don't understand, because it seems like a downgrade. Like, my smartphone pretty much gives me all the information I want. Like, why would I need a Humane
in your pocket where the camera can't be turned on?
So good, because I don't need it all.
If you're walking with your baby for the first time and the baby's starting to walk, you got to grab your phone out of your pocket and turn it on and start shooting. The Humane pin is already shooting.
Okay.
So it captures that moment much better than if you had to capture it on a phone.
Yeah.
And it's automatic.
But why though? What's the significance of that? Like,
so you have video of your baby walking the first time without thinking about pulling the phone out of your pocket and opening the camera app and starting it up, recording, right? It just did it automatically.
Yeah. So that brings us to this always online world. Like, is that necessary? I don't feel like that's necessary. Like, who cares if I'm just walking around in the street?
It's a new world. It's a new way to capture ourselves. It's a new way to tell each other stories. It's a new way to get an assistant that helps you, talks to you. Hey, don't buy those cookies. They're bad for you.
Yeah, but then it's like, I try to control me. Like, suppose I want to.
Or are you controlling yourself because you told the AI your intentionality? Hey, keep me out of the cookie aisle, right? Don't let me buy junk food anymore. I'm trying to lose weight. A guy was in my house who's building this kind of AI, and that's one of the things he's teaching his AI is, his intentionality of, I want to lose weight. I don't want to go, because we talked about walking around a grocery store at Costco, and, maybe this thing could tell you where the cookies are. And he goes, in my case, it's going to tell me not to go to the cookies. Because I give it intentionality. I don't want to eat cookies right now. I want to lose weight and eat healthier, right? So it can tell you not to go to the cookie. If you try to touch the cookies, it could say, hey, that's going to cost you some rings on your Apple Watch, right? You got to go running if you buy those cookies for half an hour if you want to eat those cookies.
All right, that makes sense. That kind of makes sense though. Because like, it gives you more control over your health, and especially if that's an intention that you have to lose weight, and you can keep track of like the calories that you're intaking, because it can automatically calculate each of these things and tell you like, hey, you're over your calorie intake to maintain this type of lifestyle that you want to live.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And you could override it. You have free will. You can buy the cookies anyways, right? But you told the AI you don't want to eat cookies anymore, it'll remind you of your intention.
That's cool. So the same day that Gemini 1.5 was announced, Sam Altman, he came and just undercut it with the Sora release. And it's pretty impressive. Like, yeah, I'm someone who I like to use Runway ML to create little short movies. So when I saw Sora and all that you can do with just like a prompt, that was pretty amazing. That was pretty cool. What's your reaction to Sora?
It's fucking it's amazing from what I've been retweeting people who have it or resharing people. It's amazing. It's like, oh, okay, another step toward the holodeck. Big one just happened, right?
The holodeck. You keep mentioning the holodeck. Like the holodeck released like once, but it didn't really do much. Right?
No. You're thinking the HoloLens.
Oh, HoloLens, yeah.
When you get a device like this,
is that the holodeck?
This is Apple Vision Pro.
Oh,
it cuts your house up into millions of voxels. It builds a digital twin of that. And then any of those voxels, volumetric pixels, right here, I'm looking at you on a 2D screen, and that's pixels, right? Grids of pixels across, right? Everything is a voxel around me, volumetric pixel. And if I turn the crown, it can change what's around me into Yosemite National Park or Joshua Tree or whatever. There's a whole bunch of experiences. I can mix reality. I can change reality. I'm not changing reality at all because I'm wearing a headset. I'm changing the voxels that are in front of my eyes, right? That's a holodeck. The ability to change reality around you as a human is a holodeck.
Okay.
But we don't have very many things to do in the holodeck yet. You don't have a virtual being that's talking to you in the holodeck. Soon you will. By the end of the year, you're going to have a virtual being in the Vision Pro that's talking to you.
That's interesting. We'll get back to
AI.
Let's go back to Sora. Right? Might drift off in the conversation. Let's go back to Sora. So
I'm telling you, Sora is really important because it gives us more things to do in the holodeck. It lets us create new experiences for people.
Do you think
it's going to be 3D? Where I'm going is this is just a stepping stone to where we're really going, which is an entirely 3D world that we talk to with our voice, and it makes stuff for us.
Okay.
Right? Hey, I want a purple zebra over there and one up here. Boom. Put a pink monkey over there. Boom. Make the pink monkey jump around like a banshee.
Do you think there's a danger in us changing our reality like that? It's because, like, I'll bring up an example, right? So, previous decade, there were a lot of kids who were born and grew up on iPads, and now, like, as kind of adults, like their whole perception on the world is different because they're used to this like instant satisfaction that they get from using the iPad. So now there's going to be a whole generation growing up on Apple Vision Pros and extended reality technology. Like, how do you think that's going to impact like the world?
Well, already I can work in my Tesla at the beach or work on the beach. Right.
So you have a Cybertruck?
One is coming within months. They already took my money. They took more money from me, so there's one coming soon. I don't have a VIN yet, so they said sometime between now and the end of March.
Yeah, but what were you saying about the previous question? You say you were working on
you're already able to work on the beach, so your world is already changing. We're heading into being a new human being, right? That's what we're talking about on this show. We're about to get new superpowers, new abilities, new things, and there is some downside. For instance, the iPad got rid of boredom, right? As a kid, I used to be bored all the time because there's nothing to do. I had no phone. You know, my brother was on we only had one phone to call my friend, right? So I couldn't call my friend. I would be bored, right? There's nothing to do. There was like 3 channels on TV. There was some radio stations, and there wasn't much to do. Now you can pull out your phone and look at X or Facebook or whatever, and while you're waiting in a line at a grocery store, that's changing our human brain. Teachers already are noticing that the kids are not reading long things anymore because they're in this continuous partial attention world. Linda Stone named that, right? She noticed that people are biting on information, as they're looking through it on the phone, and getting smaller and smaller attention on things, right? And then we're seeing that world play out. Is that a good or a bad thing? It's good in some ways and it's bad in some ways. Cool. But we're going into that new world anyways, whether it has good or bad. I mean, cars kill 1.2 million people every year around the world, 40,000 in the United States every year. We still drive. That's a real harm, right? We still drive because it has such a utility to us. And we're going to do this because it's going to have deep utility to us.
That's interesting. Yeah. So I have an idea with extended reality. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm just brainstorming about what this means to our kids. Our kids are always going to be connected to each other, like really connected, connected in the same way as if they went to, a park and played with them. Because you are going to the park and playing with them. And soon if you have a pair of glasses on in the future, like a Zuckerberg glasses or a Tim Cook glasses, you're going to be playing ping pong, chess, bowling, mini golf, all sorts of things with your friends while seeing them in 3D and hearing them in 3D. And it's not quite as good as doing it in real life, but it is close.
That's interesting.
If you want to be a professional football player, okay, you got to learn to do it in real life.
Well, so,
but
here on my theory. Yeah. I think the reason that Mark Zuckerberg is so good at like Brazilian jiu-jitsu is that he has like a digital twin of someone who's good at Brazilian jiu-jitsu that he can like practice with all the time in the metaverse.
He has a real coach. He can afford to pay a real coach to be with him and whenever he wants, right?
Well, but also
the ability to do that.
But also, it's like that scene in The Matrix was like where Neo was in like the white place and he wanted to learn kung fu and stuff, and he just like kung fu download, and then he's like,
now that is going to happen in this. The Reflect has already showed me augmented reality that teaches you in real time how to do something. So that's coming. That's the superpower that spatial computing is going to give you over the next few years. Like, your washing machine breaks and it's flashing a code. What's the first thing you do? The first thing I did is go to YouTube, right? And it knew what that code was, and there was a video, right, that showed me how to fix it. Well, it's a 2D video, so learning how to take out the back of the washing machine with screws and getting to the pump that was broken took a little bit of cognitive work to translate from 2D on my YouTube video to the real machine. If you're wearing something like this, it can show you take that screw out, and just make the screw red. That's the first one you should take out, right?
Do you think that's because of visual language models? And do you think that's probably what the Gemini and OpenAI they're about?
That will help us get to that world, because how does a Tesla car learn to drive now? It watches videos.
Oh, wow.
Millions of them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the version 12 that's just about to come out is completely trained with videos. Millions of them. Many of them, right? Big data center with them. Well, who has a big data center of videos? YouTube.
That's all. Oh, YouTube. Yeah. YouTube.
Right? So in the future, your glasses are going to know how to do something because it's going to watch a YouTube video in a couple seconds, figure out what it did, and then convert that into 3D and show you on the machine how to fix your machine. Yesterday, a guy was at my house. He ingested a YouTube video in a second, and it wrote a transcript instantly. And then you could tell it and say, hey, pull out the key things out of this video, right? You could talk to the video. Yeah.
You must live in Palo Alto, where everyone is like up to date.
That's half an hour up the street. I'm close. I can drive to Palo Alto. Living in Palo Alto requires wealth I do not have.
Well, you know, Elon,
Palo Alto minimum. Yeah.
That's what's up. So in the last few years, like we've just been on rocket boots in technology. From my view, it started in 2021 when Zuckerberg changed Facebook into Meta. And then there was this whole phrase around metaverse-based NFTs that drove the market to insanity. And then right after that, Sam Altman, he came out with DALL-E 2, which was huge. And then Stable Diffusion came out. And then ChatGPT came out. And then AI has been accelerating like crazy. So do you know what the Kardashev scale is? Like, do you think we're close to a type 1
Define
civilization?
that. I barely know what that is. I'd have to ask.
All right. So Kardashev scale is like,
Look that up.
yeah, no problem. So the Kardashev scale is this guy Kardashev, I don't remember his first name, but this guy Kardashev, he defined different levels of humanity, like as far as our advancement, based on the amount of energy we're able to use and where that energy came from. So type 1 or type 0 is where we're at right now, where we use a lot of fossil fuels and stuff. But type 1 is where we're able to harness the power of all the earth in order, like wind, like lava, the sun, all that stuff. We can use all of it to replace like fossil fuels and then be able to run in this advanced world where energy pretty much costs nothing. So we're able to get so much done without
the energy costs nothing because it's raining out of the sky, right? It's called the sun.
Mm-hmm.
I have solar panels on my roof above me, right? It's collecting the sun.
Yeah. So we're getting there.
That energy in a Tesla battery that's on the side of my house. And so if the grid goes down, right, if the power company goes down, my house still stays up because I have some electricity in my battery that was collected from the sun. Now, the sun is free, but the solar cells cost some money and the battery costs some money.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's the collection that it costs you some money. But once you buy that, it's always there, right? It's always collecting sun every day. Every day it's collecting some more.
Yeah. So the significance of this Kardashev scale question is that because energy will cost so little, we'll be able to advance to a point where we reach to a type 2 civilization where we'll be able to harness all the energy from the whole solar system. And are you familiar with like Dyson spheres where they're like these like energy captures that you put around the sun and then harness the entire power of the sun? I think that's around like type 2, type 3.
So you're going to make the whole universe dark, aren't you? You're going to try to take away the sun's energy and harness it.
Well, I don't think
you can't get close to the sun. It's freaking hot.
I know.
A lot of radiation.
I know. I'm just asking you about like how you feel about that. I don't think it's a good idea or a bad idea. I'm not really sure.
But I always think about the next 10 years of human being. That's further than 10 years away, right? But we need to get more human beings to use sustainable energy to have solar panels on their house to collect the sun, right? So that your power grids get more resilient and stay up. I mean, I talked to a guy on Twitter Space or X Spaces a couple months ago who lives in Nigeria, and his power is down every week, he told me.
Okay.
Every week his grid goes down. So he had to build his own solar panels, his own power generator, right, to keep his grid up, just to talk to us on X. I don't have to do that. My power's never been down in my house. So I have a ability to use computers to do things like talk to you because the power's up, right? If your power's always down, you can't do this.
Yeah.
So you have to fix your power problems around the world so that people can join the richer world in doing things.
Yeah, I also talked to a guy on this podcast, episode 6, if anyone's interested.
Yeah.
He's developing hydroelectricity power. He's harnessing hydroelectricity in order to.
If you have a little stream in your backyard or something and it's flowing by at a good rate, you can put devices in there to harness.
Oh no, not hydroelectricity, hydrogen. Hydrogen.
Same thing, huh?
Yeah, look.
I don't know. Hydrogen, you need you need a big source of power to make the hydrogen.
Yeah. So his technology, he's working in Nigeria to help resolve those power outages, and his technology is able to give, like, I don't even remember the number, but it's able to give way more, like 4 times as much electricity as Nigeria is currently experiencing.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
The people from who have these small constraints, really hard problems to fix, right? Their power grids down all the time. People who fix that with those small constraints are geniuses, and they're going to run power companies in the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they understand how a grid works, how electricity works. They built their own, right? My kids, it's always on for my kids. They don't think about it. They don't learn about it. They don't care about it. They don't struggle against that, right? So are my kids going to run the power company of the future? No, it's going to be somebody who comes from Nigeria or someplace like that who had to build their own little power infrastructure, right? They really understand the business deeply.
For sure.
In Silicon Valley, a lot of the Russian programmers are the best programmers because they had to learn on computers that were shitty.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They didn't have nice big amounts of RAM like I did when I was growing up.
That makes sense.
I downloaded a 64 kilobyte RAM CPM card cost $2,000 in $1978. That's way out of the reach of most people.
Yeah, 1978.
You don't have that. You have to learn how to program on 16K RAM instead of 64K RAM.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think about Sam Altman? And before you talk, let me just preface this. So, you suck all the air out through, man. It's hard. Anyway, so Sam Altman, he's like the CEO of probably the last few years. He took this obscure AI company, and he's ahead of all the leaders, Google, Facebook, probably Nvidia, with his AI products. Like, do you think it's a fluke, or do you think there's some real skill behind Sam Altman as the CEO?
He has an organization of of many of the smartest people in the world. Like, when I meet people who work at OpenAI, they are extraordinarily smart human beings. They're like the top of the field. And he has a few hundred of them. And they're all working together and doing cool shit. So, yeah, he deserves credit for that, at minimum. That's hard to do.
So do you think...
Hard to convince 100 smart people around the world to join you in some effort. That's really hard to do because those smart people have infinite opportunity to do other things. Right?
Well,
work at Walmart or Apple or Google or GoPro or wherever, right? They have infinite opportunity. These people, they can write their own ticket. They can do whatever they want. And he convinced 100 or 300 of them to join him in this effort. That's pretty incredible.
To that point,
that's why he's getting the funding, and that's why has the cool product at the moment. Right?
Yeah, but to that point, Google, Meta, and the rest of them, they also have some of the smartest people in the world. So
they do.
Do you think it's because those other companies are so big that it's hard for them to move as fast as, like, maybe OpenAI, which is nimble and is growing?
It comes down to Clayton Christian wrote a book about the innovator's dilemma, right? And he blames it on the customer.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a company and you're an ongoing concern, right? You have investors, you have employees, and your customers, and the customers are paying you money. That causes you to miss sometimes the next thing because you can't change. Here's a great example everybody should know, right? How did Microsoft start? How did Microsoft get in the operating system business? Because their first product was not operating systems. Bill Gates built a basic interpreter for programmers.
I think are you asking me a question or is this rhetorical? Yeah. So I think, if I'm familiar, I think he did some work with what are they called? It's
IBM.
IBM. And
came to him and said, we're building a personal computer. This was 1979, 80. Apple already was out. Right? Apple had already kicked their ass.
Oh,
right.
Really?
Apple proved that people wanted a personal computer. IBM didn't believe that. Because IBM was making mainframes and big computers for big companies that had customers that were paying them millions of dollars. They couldn't wrap their head. Steve Wozniak told me he offered his personal computer to Atari and HP, and they refused to build it because they thought nobody would buy it. Right? So, first of all, there's a lack of innovation, lack of understanding the future is going to change. People are going to change what they want to do because of innovation, right? That's the first thing. But back at...
I just want
to change their business because they had existing business. They had existing business. They just couldn't change. They could, So anyway, so IBM goes to Bill Gates and goes, "Hey, we need an operating system for a little computer to compete with Apple computer because Apple's beating us with this new personal computer. It proved that there's a market we didn't see and we have to react to it now." Bill sent him down to Gary Kildall down in Pacific Grove. He was running a company that made a product called CP/M, which was the #1 operating system in the late 70s, right? That's why my dad bought a card to hold CP/M. My dad spent $2,000 on this card just to hold CP/M, just to process CP/M, right? And then CP/M, it turned out, was being sold for thousands of dollars per seat. So if you wanted to buy CP/M, you had to spend another couple $1,000s to buy CP/M on top of buying So you had to spend $4,000 or $5,000 just to run CP/M, right? And IBM went down there and wanted it for $25. And Gary couldn't conceive of how he was going to fire his customers. I tell them all, go away. I'm now selling my OS for $25. Right? He couldn't figure out how to make a business with that, and so he told IBM to go away. I'm not going to do a deal with you. He told them that twice. And second time, Bill Gates finally got a clue. Goes, okay, I need IBM to make this personal computer because that's going to help me sell a lot more basic interpreters to people. So he found a copy of CP/M at Seattle Computer Works, and a guy named Tim Patterson, I met him. He had a copy of CP/M.
What is CP/M?
He sold Microsoft the copy for $50,000, right? Cloned. And Bill Gates then had a dad who was a lawyer and figured out, we should write the contracts so that I can sell this to other companies because that's how I'll make money at $25 a copy. And if I can sell it to a whole bunch of manufacturers, now I can actually make money at $25 a copy.
What is CP/M?
CP/M was the #1 operating system. It was like the DOS or the Windows or the Mac OS or the iOS of the day, right?
Okay. I'm glad you defined that because I was like, what does that mean?
It was $3,000 to buy the operating system of the day, right? There was no DOS back then, right?
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And so he bought a copy of CP/M, which wasn't quite as good because he wanted CP/M was the best. That was how everybody ran their computers back then, right? That's why my dad bought it. Spent $5,000 to run CP/M.
No.
Right? Because it was the best operating system of the day. And so Bill Gates wanted IBM to get that, right? He wanted IBM to get the best one. Well, that didn't work out, so you got the second best one and made a business out of it. Made a big business out of it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I worked for Bill Gates, right? I told him to buy all of Web 2 because I sat next to Tim O'Reilly at the first Google advertising conference.
Pause. Just pause. I love the way you throw out these famous people like that you have casual conversations with.
Yeah.
earlier. You were like, yeah, I was talking to Elon. And then you were like, yes, I was talking to Steve Wozniak. I'm like,
I
bro,
studied with Steve Wozniak in a community college cafeteria every day for a semester. Yeah, he kicked me. It kicked off my career.
how do you know all these amazing people that we read?
Because I was Apple's first child laborer. When I was 13, I made Apple II motherboards with my mom in our kitchen. And I fell in love with the motherboards. Therefore, when I saw Woz in a parking lot at a community college, I knew who he was because I built his motherboards, and I fell in love with them.
So you're like a child of Silicon Valley. You're like you grew up around all this stuff.
I grew up in my backyard. My dad moved us to Cupertino, California in 1971. Apple started in 1976 in my backyard.
That's cool. That's
So
really
I got
cool.
to watch the whole industry grow up.
And you're still so humble. That's
I'm not humble at all.
well, we're gonna drive in your Ferrari after this podcast.
No, I got a Tesla, and it's way better than a Ferrari. Let me tell you, I got to drive a Ferrari last year that cost $450,000. It's a nice car, but my car is way better than that one for me. Why? My car drives.
I want to get into
Last night drove me all the way to Santa Cruz on a curvy road, high-speed road at night with walls like a foot from my car.
Okay.
Ferrari can't do that.
All right. So
Right. So
acknowledge.
car, Ferrari or Tesla.
Duly noted.
I'm wearing a Optimus shirt for a reason. Tesla has the fastest learning AI.
All right, let's get into that. But first, I want to. Our chat has been going crazy. I don't know if you've.
I'm not watching, so I'll let you watch the chat. And
Yeah, no, but I want to. They're asking some good questions, so I want to take some time.
Bring them in
to throw them in. So, Dan, he says, Robert. I guess this is around the time that we were talking about privacy, probably. But he says Robert is referring to, I think, the greater, seemingly unattainable tech of free space, headset-free holodeck. There is some technology inching there, but very expensive to scale. Tentacular 3D emissive walls. And Brett Victor is busy building semantics for it before it's physically invented.
Microsoft Research, Andy Wilson and Microsoft Research had something like that 15 years ago. That is not sellable to people in their homes. I don't have room for a physical holodeck. I do have room for this, so we can fake it in this. And the glasses of the future are going to fake it. When I'm talking about a holodeck, I'm talking about everything around me is virtual.
So everything around you, just in spatial, just in your space is virtual.
As soon as I put on glasses, everything around me is a voxel. Everything. It's a digital twin. I'm seeing the digital twin right now. If I put this on, I'm back here. I can see you. As soon as I put this on, boom, I see you. Am I seeing you? No,
Yeah.
I'm seeing the voxels.
No.
I'm seeing the voxels. I'm not seeing you.
How are you not seeing me? Like, you're seeing...
I'm seeing you, but I'm seeing you on screens. They're your voxels now. It just turned you into... I see the entire world around me as voxels, as a digital twin. I'm not seeing you.
All right, hold on. Because I'm
seeing you, but you're on in 3D. You notice this doesn't let me see through the device.
Oh, you're saying there's like an
It's a
interpretation
pass-through device. You're not seeing reality at all.
Oh, okay. So you're saying you're seeing an interpretation of what the Apple Vision Pro is showing you.
Bingo. Everything is a voxel.
That's interesting. So
it looks like the real world. It looks the same as all of this, right? But it's all voxels. I mean, me right now to your viewers or to you is pixels, right? Are you really seeing me? No, you're not seeing me. You're seeing pixels. You're seeing numbers that are going through some internet to to show up on your screen, right? That's not me. That's the computer me. It's a digital twin.
So everything's fake. Believe nothing. Everything's fake news.
That's what I've been telling people. Don't believe anything. And if you have the Apple glasses on, you can't believe anything. You're seeing what the Apple computer wants you to see. So it's all fake. And if you assume that, then you can have fun with it, right? It's like, okay, I'm walking around a fake digital twin. What's really in my fuck is when you're walking on the digital twin in this and shooting it. It's like, wait a second, I'm walking on a digital twin and I'm shooting it with a camera. Or the camera's shooting it, making the digital twin, and then recording the digital twin that it made. It's a mindfuck, right?
That's interesting. But based on that definition, that means like the videos that we upload on YouTube, those are voxels too, right?
They're pixels. They're a 2D thing, right? I could have a 2D virtual screen right here with a YouTube video on it. It's pixels on the surface, but it's voxels to the headset. It converts everything. Soon we're going to have AIs that convert the 2D image that you put on YouTube to a 3D scene. You can already do that. You can pass a video to Luma AI and it'll make a 3D voxel scene around you. A neural radiance field, they call it, or a Gaussian splat.
Yeah, nerfs. Let's talk about those for a little bit, because I think the next generation of video games are like AI first. AI first, where it just generates the assets on demand and on the go. And
when you figure out everything around you is a voxel, it's changing the voxels. That's all it's doing. It's changing the voxel from my room to a national park, or to some 3D scene that some AI art program developed. By the end of the year, right? The reason we went on this long thing is because we were talking about Sora, right? Yeah. Sora today creates things in 2D, but Sora soon is going to create them in 3D. It thinks in 3D.
Yeah, some people say that Sora is using like a physics-based game engine to create those videos. What do you think?
By the end of the year, we're going to have 3D environments that are like Sora. Whether they're from OpenAI or from Zuckerberg or from Google or from Apple, I don't know. Or from some company we don't even know yet, right? But like Luma AI, right? Luma AI is trying to get to this world too. There's 420 companies building things for the holodeck.
So when you say holodeck, holodeck is not a technology. Holodeck is a concept, right? The concept of everything around you is a voxel.
Bingo.
Oh,
everything around you is a voxel. Everything can be changed.
Okay, that makes sense.
You want a shark coming out of your floor? You can make that happen, right? You want to see stars above you? You can make that happen. You want to see a forest around you? You can make that happen. That's a holodeck. What is a holodeck? That is a holodeck.
All right, so speaking of a holodeck, Amazon has a show called Upload, where I guess when you're on your deathbed, they put some AI glasses on you and they immerse you in this world. Like, do you think there will be a point where just everything will be so realistic that you can't tell the virtual reality from like actual reality, and you'll just be confused all the time?
If I shot you on this, right? Made a video, and I started playing the video, and I've done this already, so I know it. If I played the video view and put you over here, and then I have you, the real you, over here, I can't tell the difference visually between the copy of you and the real you. So if you can't tell the difference between the real you and the copy of you, this again, you're not seeing reality. You're seeing voxels all the time. So it can show you a copy of you in voxels that looks the same as the real you in voxels.
Okay. So to everyone watching, I want to encourage you to write your questions in the chat.
And soon I'm going to be able to take that image of you, that 3D thing of you, and manipulate the 3D thing of you, make you talk, make you move, right? I've already had that happen. Hold on.
This guy's fun to talk to.
Philip Rosedale, who started Second Life, took me into a volumetric camera scanner, which had 50 cameras around me, and captured me as voxels. This is voxels.
Did he 3D print that?
Yeah, he 3D printed it to show it out.
That's pretty detailed.
Yeah. 3D prints are pretty cool. When I was inside his high fidelity with this model, this voxel model, I was wearing sensors on my hands, on my waist, and on my feet. And I could kick. If I put my real leg up, my fake leg went up, like I was the same thing, right? I'm manipulating my voxel map with a computer. So now, once you get this into the computer, I can make you do anything digitally, right? Like run, jump, have a love scene, whatever. I can make a new movie of you. If you give me the 3D scan, the voxel map of you. Well, everybody's got to do that soon.
That's interesting. Hold on, I'm stuck.
It's a big concept, right? It's like everything's a voxel.
I'm just stuck.
It's like everything's a voxel. If you start thinking like nothing is real, and when you own a Vision Pro, you start buying into this. It's like, oh shit! Like go to the Apple Store and put it on, and you see the Apple Store around you. You're not seeing an Apple Store. You're seeing voxels. You're seeing a digital twin of the Apple Store around you if you put it on at the Apple Store. It's fucking insane. So I started thinking the whole world is voxels now, right? So we're in a new world.
All right. So we're in a new world.
It's too heavy to wear the shopping mall right now, right? It's too expensive and too heavy and too dorky. Well, we know that
to do it.
3 or 5 years we're all going to have a pair of glasses that does the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They've been in my house, so I know they're coming. Lucas from Israel comes to my house every year to show me the latest waveguide optics for the glasses, and they're coming.
Oh hell yeah,
they're really
yeah. I'm that's a technology I'm super excited about because I've been complaining about these things being so big for so long. Like I just want them to just get them into glasses form and just have them.
Nobody's gonna wear this in the shopping mall, right?
They are doing it currently.
Nerds will. I will, because I'm a nerd and I don't give a fuck. I wore it out in the street in Chinatown, right? I'll do it because I'm a nerd. But normal people, too heavy, too weird, too imperfect. You can't drive with this thing on. More accurately, you could drive with this thing on, but you don't have peripheral vision, and what you're seeing is a little less resolution than analog real world, right? If you're seeing the analog real world with your eyes, you're seeing more than you can see inside this Vision Pro, even though it's a pretty close copy of it, right? Cool. So you don't want to do something really high flow state. Although people have been skiing and running, I run with this thing on, right? You can run. It's pretty good. The digital twin is made so quickly with such low latency that you can move around the world in this, no problem. But it's not perfect. I wouldn't recommend you going on a mountain bike ride with this thing on. You probably will make a mistake and hurt yourself. Because you're seeing everything like 20 milliseconds after it actually happened, right?
Yeah.
And you're not seeing the peripheral, and you're not seeing the detail that you do in the real world. The analog real world is highly detailed, right?
So what will be your suggestion on how businesses who are trying to keep up with all this technology acceleration, like how can they future-proof their business? Or is it too early to future-proof your business?
I was talking to somebody at Ford about this last night. I'm writing a whole post about Ford. How does Ford have to change for this world where its customers are wearing glasses? Not has to change. What's the new opportunity to change? Because if your customers have glasses on that do augmented reality and do a digital twin of the real world real quick, and they're going to in 3, 4, 5 years, what does that mean to driving? A Ford truck or whatever. You can make Kansas a lot more interesting. If you're driving across Kansas, it's 8 hours of a straight road. It's boring as fuck. There's nothing to see. It's just, you got to grind.
Is that your dig at the Chiefs because they won the Super Bowl? Saying that Kansas is boring.
Picture I'm kind of posting of Kansas. It's a straight road. It's like, that's how I think. It's like, don't try to improve the truck. Try to improve Kansas. Because if you improve Kansas, then you'll improve the truck.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll change what your idea of transportation is. Because you have augmented reality glasses, you have autonomous vehicle that's driving for you. And that's a different world, and Ford is not prepared for that world.
Yeah, I mean,
you'll see Ford R&D projects driving around the freeways, like I see from NVIDIA, or Zoox, which is Amazon, Apple, Google's Waymo is driving around San Francisco. You can get in one right now, and there's no human in the car. It's driving around.
Well, if based on what you said earlier, which is that these huge tech companies are too heavy and they have too much going on in order to move fast, then how much more these companies that have been around for at least 100 years, like Ford, they must have so much going on that like they move at a snail's pace.
I learned last night they don't have an LLM project, right? They don't have an AI project. And soon you're going to be talking to your truck. Like Grok is going to run the Tesla truck. What's going to run the Ford truck?
ChatGPT.
That could happen, right? Because they might say, okay, we're way behind. How do we catch up? Make a deal with somebody who has it, right? And put it in the truck. Mm-hmm. But soon they're going to have to put it in the truck because that's going to be the expectation soon. By the end of the year, you're going to be talking to Grok in a Tesla.
All right. So is that contextual computing where, like, let's say you have this one AI that knows everything about you, and it runs your house, runs your car, runs like pretty much everything. And as you switch context from the house to like the garage
context
to the car, and it knows how to keep up with you. Is that what contextual computing is?
Where do you switch context the most? The car, right? I switch
going to different places.
Context to a work context in my car. I switch from a home context to a church context. If I go on Sunday morning to a church context, right? If I go to school, I have to get in my car to go to the school. I change context in the car. So Grok can help you because it knows you're changing context. It knows where if you have an LLM running your car, it knows where you're going, right? It knows you're going to the grocery store because you told it, take me to the grocery store, or take me to a McDonald's, or take me to school, or take me to church, or take me to shopping mall, or take me to whatever. It knows that you're changing context, and it can help you do that.
So contextual computing is what's next then. What is
the user trying to do? It's what is their context? Are they trying to work? Are they trying to play? Are they trying to learn? Right? Those are different contexts. Different things have to be shown on the voxels around you, right? For the different contexts.
All right, time check. I want to talk about robots and other things and Neuralink. I don't know how much time you got left.
We should go till like noon, which is in 12 minutes or so, 15 minutes, something like that.
15 minutes? All right, cool. All right, let's talk about robots. So OpenAI, they've released GPT-4V or something like that, which has
Vision.
for vision which has vision context as well as audio context. And the rumor is, that this is all in preparation for their robot series, which is going to be released and brought into people's houses. First, how do you feel about that? Like, how do you feel about?
I want one. So there are a lot of other people. There's a lot of demand. My brother says he'll spend $100,000 each for 4 of them. He runs a bar, right? He needs help washing dishes and doing grungy shit in the kitchen. If he had a ability to buy an Optimus, he would. And there's a lot of people who have that demand. It's when Optimus shows up at your house someday, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 8 years from now, 20 years from now, I don't care. It's coming. What is it going to do? How is it going to interact with you? It's going to talk with you. It's going to be able to shake your hand, high five you, play games with you, right? Throw a football to you soon. It doesn't.
So robots are taking our jobs, pretty much. Like,
they take your shitty job. Why it takes to the shitty job.
But shitty jobs are what people get paid for. No one gets paid to do
today. So now we invent a new thing, and there might be people who don't get into this new world, right? So now we have to have guaranteed minimum income for them because, for instance, autonomous cars are going to take away jobs. Absolutely.
Yeah,
truck drivers are in 20 years. The humans are not driving trucks in America. An AI is driving a truck in America. So in the next 20 years, all of those jobs are going away. That's 1.3 million people who make money driving a truck. What are they going to do? We have to have an answer to that, and we don't. So you're right to point it out. But in a perfect world, we would have the wealth to put that truck driver back into school and say, you have a shot at a new American dream. You have to go learn something new. And if you give them the wealth to do that, that's very possible. I've seen people go from a chef to running a VR company in a few years because they got the wealth to go and learn something new. So I know it's possible. I know human beings can change.
So Adam Smith, the father of capitalism, he actually predicted this. He predicted that, as technology improves, then we will have to get rid of the old jobs that technology has made obsolete in new specialized roles. So my whole thing is trying to figure out, like, for someone who's not a programmer and computers are taking that job as well, like what's going to be left to do? Like what?
Material scientists.
Material scientists?
Yeah, we're going to need to come up with lots of new drugs, new materials, right? How do you do that? You get into VR. You get into a program called Nano, right? Which lets you blow up a chemical structure, like something you can't see, bigger than the house that you're living in. And you can walk around that chemical structure and change it. You can see how it works. You can manipulate it. You can train an AI to manipulate it. That's a new job.
But why can't AI
makes the casting machine? I used to make aluminum molds in junior high in our metal shop, right? I poured molten aluminum in a thing that I made in sand, a cast in sand. It's really hard to get the aluminum to flow properly into all the pieces that you make. They do it every 40 seconds now. And it makes such a complex shape out of that molten aluminum, and every freaking time it comes out. So how did they do that? They had a material scientist who made a new kind of alloy that goes into the cast so that it flows better at high speeds under pressure to get into all the complex shapes of that cast machine that makes the front of your Cybertruck. For the underneath of the Cybertruck, right? That's next level. So you can build new things in VR, in voxels that turn into trucks or turn into products for people or turn into new drugs or turn into all sorts of things. There's a lot of new jobs coming. A lot of them.
All right. Now, have you seen one of these Optimus robots? How is it powered? Like, that's my curious. Do you have to
It's plugged in the wall at this point, I believe.
But there's no battery pack?
No, it's going to be. I mean, are we talking about 5 years from now, or are we talking about today? What is
Today?
Today, it's plugged into the wall in a lab, right? But in 5 years, it's going to be walking around the streets with batteries in it, right? It doesn't need that much power. I don't have my gimbal, but if you get a DJI gimbal, it has 3 little tiny electric motors. It runs for hours and hours and hours, running 3 little motors that are basically the foundations of Optimus. Optimus only has 100 of these motors.
Is it gonna have like awareness of its wire and not accidentally plug itself out? Or is it charging? Like, I'm trying to figure out how these things work.
I'm just goofing off because I don't know that they have it all built yet. You know, so it's right now it's a prototype in a lab, right? By the time it's walking around in public, it's not going to have a wire. It's going to have the batteries inside. It's going to run completely itself. So let's just pretend that world is almost here.
Okay.
Other companies are doing that, right? They are building humanoid robots that can walk around the factory floor with no wires. So we're almost in that world, if not already in that world. It's just there's only a few of them.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So when Optimus gets into, when you buy an Optimus, it's not going to have no wires. It's going to walk into your house or into your factory.
Cool.
And the AI is going to be zero shot training. So you're going to show it once how to do something. It's going to know how to do it from then on. It's going to do it over and over and over and over again.
Wow. So do you have like a coupon code I can use to get 50% off on my phone?
I wish, right now,
call up Elon.
You got to call Elon and have some big dollars to fund the Optimus program, and right.
Have them give you a few coupon codes and then just sell them on the black market. Probably make a lot of money.
A friend of mine actually built a company called Giant AI, which was a half humanoid robot that would work on a factory floor, a factory line where parts are going by, and it would, manipulate them or put them into boxes or something like that. It's coming. It's pretty cool. The technology is coming along fast. The AI is learning. This is why AI learning rate is so important. If it's not what it does today that matters, it's how fast is it learning. Because all AIs start out shittier than a human being. All of them. And if they learn fast, they end up beating the best human being in a couple of years. Right? So this Optimus, it's going to be better at you than folding laundry. It's someday, maybe not today. Today it's slower than a human being folding laundry, right? But 18 months from now, it's going to be faster than most human beings at folding laundry. And certainly 36 months from now, it will be.
So here, I always wanted to have this debate. So since we're about to wrap up, I just want to have this quick debate. I think human imagination is better than computer knowledge. Because knowledge is, I would say, static. Like once you have all the knowledge in the world, you can't go any more than that.
Do you teach your robot how to wash dishes? Once it learns, it does them over and over and over again. It doesn't need to invent how to do dishes, right? There's no innovation in washing your dishes.
Yeah. So I think human imagination has that innovation part that just gives us the edge. So I don't think robots will ever be able to really
We were weird. A guy I met, he started out worst on his high school track team at doing high jump. And he asked his coach, "Hey, I've been playing with this backward jump, and I think I could do a backward jump. Can I do it backward instead of forward?" And he did. He improved 7 inches, he told me, in the first meet. He ended up years later winning the gold medal, right, by 2 centimeters, 8.3 feet in the air, right? So you jump pretty high going backward. He put his name on the sport. Dick Fosbury is the guy's name. Fosbury flop is what we call it now, the backward high jump, right? Robots are going to learn the same way, right? It's going to start out shitty, like a human being did, worst on the team. And it's going to end up being, figuring out how to beat us at a lot of things.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out, like, what's our competitive advantage? Because
we're weird.
I know when
we're
the
weird. You nailed
robot
it.
apocalypse
We're weird.
comes
We
up,
come up with
we have to, like, figure out a way
crazy
to
shit to do. Like, what are we going to do with our Optimus? If you had an Optimus, what would you be doing? You'd be doing movies with it. You'd be like thinking of new things to do with your Optimus, right? You're weird. Optimus only can do what it has already been trained on, which is a lot. It knows, these large language models know everything we've written, right? And can ingest a YouTube video in a second or two. So it can learn from all of our videos, and right? And to most people, that will seem pretty inventive. The Optimus will be fairly creative in the house, right? By the time it gets into people's houses, some year in the future. But it can't invent new things. That's your job. That's why I said the computer is going to take the shitty job, the job you don't really want to do. It's going to leave time for you to do the fun job, the job you really want to, that gets your mind going. Creativity, right?
No, I agree. Let's tell that to all the mortgage companies that expect your payment. Tell them, like, hey, I don't have a job right now, but don't worry.
You don't have a job,
Don't worry. Just hold off on the mortgage thing. Don't worry. I'm doing creative stuff right now. All right. Well, that's our show.
I'm getting paid by X.com. Why? Because I talk on a virtual system, right? That's a new job that didn't exist, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That's the new job. If you're making me a gun in the metaverse, for my new video game, because you make the best guns, there'll be a lot of innovation guns or clothing or art cars this is what I'm saying to Ford. The experience of being in a Ford is going to radically change in the next 10 years. So you better be the one to bring it. This proves that.
Pretty interesting.
It's just, this is big. Well, this will be small in a few years. It'll be like your glasses in a few years.
I know.
There's no product that are bringing glasses out, right? It's just the viewing area is real small, and the ability to do a lot of weird shit that bring your holodeck to you can't be done yet in glasses. Is coming soon.
All right. So Meta versus Apple. So my theory is the reason why the Apple Vision Pro had a more significant impact than all the Meta Quests that have released in the last few years is that Meta created the market, introduced the concept, but Apple has the following to actually bring it mainstream. What do you think about that?
Let's go back to the iPhone. Because Nokia was the company that created the smartphone, really, right? Or didn't create it, but they had all the market share. Everybody had a Nokia phone in the day that I
remember.
Right, people would go to Europe and buy a cool new Nokia phone, bring it back, and show it to me and go, "Oh, I got the new one. You didn't get the new one." So how did Apple come in? And Apple comes in late. Apple didn't have any market share, and comes in with a product and takes it all away from Nokia. They know they can do that, and that's what they're trying to do with this product. But I think it's the wrong way to look at it. Why not look at it from Apple and Meta together? Because if Zuckerberg, instead of mouthing off about how much better the Apple is, if he came out and said, we know Scoble's going to buy an Apple because he's an Apple fan. I'm not going to get him anymore. I'm not buying another Meta device. I'm an Apple fan. As long as Apple's better in most ways, I'm going to keep buying this device. Well, he could have said, well, I'm going to put the Horizon Worlds on the Apple device so that the Apple customer can work with a Meta customer, right? Because I can't afford 4 of these. These are freaking expensive. I don't have the wealth to buy 4 of them. So my kids don't have one. My wife doesn't have one. If he said, oh, you could work with your kids in a new way and in Horizon Worlds, and they can be in the Quest and you can be in your Apple, and we're going to work together, I might be on the way to Best Buy right now to buy 2 or 3 more of the Quests. Why not make it Apple and Meta together?
I think that's kind of his strategy with making all the AI tools open source. That way, like whoever wants.
He's still thinking that I'm going to own the customer and have everybody on the Meta. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. There's already proof of that. So why not take a different stance and say, it's time for VR to grow up and work together?
Well, I actually think that's a good idea because the VR industry, I had a guy on my podcast, Mike Griffin. He used to work DOD and build stuff in cyberspace. They used to call it cyberspace back then. And he was telling me like how people have been expecting the metaverse to be a big thing for like 30, 40 years now. And it just never took off. So I think if Apple and Meta can come together and kind of merge their technologies, I think that'll bring us into this cyber world, virtual world, digital twin world a lot faster, which has a lot of benefits with spatial computing. You can quickly identify things instead of using like Google Maps and looking at your phone all the time. Your glasses could be directing you where to go while you're driving in your ways. And there's a lot of great use cases. And I think just them merging together and creating like a new massive market will probably like accomplish both of their goals.
Yeah. The times require different thinking.
Cool.
If they all work together, it's a better world for everybody.
And it's probably more money for both of them.
Exactly. It's a win-win, because how do I get all my friends and family into an Apple device? They can't afford this device. It's too heavy, right? Forget the heaviness. It's just too expensive. They're more likely to buy a cheaper device, right?
Yeah.
Android sells more than iPhone around the world. Why? Most of it is because it's cheaper. A lot cheaper for people, right? You can buy an Android phone for $40. An iPhone costs $300.
Yeah.
That's a big difference for a lot of people.
Maybe an old iPhone costs $300.
No, a new cheap one. The one I buy costs $2,000. Right? I have the terabyte.
Yeah, with inflation, everything's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm trying to wrap up, man.
Yeah, we can talk all day.
That's
why I'm going to
wrap up, bro.
Get things going. So,
yeah. All right. Bye. So, thank you, Robert, for coming on our podcast. Everyone who participated and asked questions, I didn't get to all of them, but thank you for participating. Rob, I thank you for your time, and we like to give you an opportunity to promote whatever you got going on. So
my books.
Take it away.
Subscribe. Pay me money.
There you go. No, what are you?
We have a newsletter, podcast, everything's on X. So just follow me on X and get involved.
All right. And you have 6 books, all about different, like you said, you predict the next 10 years in each book.
2 books on spatial computing. The last book on spatial computing is still a must read. It really lays out what's about to come.
Cool. And when's your next book coming out?
Well, we just came out with a metaverse book explaining the metaverse to business people, which is a new metaverse is coming because of high resolution digital twins, right? And so that's an interesting book and getting good reviews. And then Irina and I are just starting to work on a third spatial computing book, sort of an update of our previous work. So,
Cool. All right.
The Apple devices here. Now we know how higher resolution the voxels are, right? What do we got to play?
Cool. And I want to encourage everyone to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where this full interview is going to come out on Monday. Subscribe at Medallion XLN. We got a Substack, we got Medium, we got Twitter, all the stuff, all the things.
All the things.
Go to all the things. And
I'm doing video interviews with entrepreneurs who are building AIs, right? And that's my video show on YouTube called On the Line. But it's all on X, so just follow me on X and you'll see it all.
For sure. And follow us too. All right. Thanks a lot.
Win-win.
Win-win.
Thank you so much. This is fun.
Yeah.